for some reason Tyler decided it would be a good idea to just like get on his knees, well, turn around on the bunk bed. He turns around, gets on his knees, bends over, pulls down his pants, and spreads his asshole to the whole cabin. And since he fell asleep, Tyler just like, you know, I'll go wake him up. So Tyler goes and creeps over to his bed, right? Jumps on top of his bed and starts humping him like,
please God.
What's going on, everyone? Derrikmonster here, back in with another Pixelmon video. Today, I think what we're going to do is we're going to kind of explore the world, gather materials, maybe train our Pokemon, catch some new Pokemon, all that. You know, we got to get materials so we can start crafting stuff like Pokeballs and maybe a PC and stuff. And we also got to train our Pokemon so we can actually start challenging gyms and stuff like that. So I think that's what we're going to do today. But if you're enjoying the series, leave a like on this video because it helps me out. And also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. But I did some stuff off screen. As you can see, my house has expanded. I need to pour a torch here. Yeah, my house has expanded. Off screen, I decided to expand my house because I had more land. And originally, the land that over here where I had my house was kind of like right here or here. I expanded out because originally I was going to have my own apricot farm here, but this village actually has their own apricot farm that we can use for free. So I decided to expand it, and it comes right under Toblin's house. It's actually touching his house, but hopefully he doesn't mind that my house is kind of touching his house. It shouldn't be big much of a deal because it's only touching the corner, and it's not like I didn't destroy his house or anything. I didn't do anything. I also added this sign that says Derrikmonster's house, you know, so people know it's my house. I added some more furnaces here. I do have a chest, and I also went to the apricot farm in this village, got some more apricots. I mostly got black and yellow because I need those for like ultra balls and stuff. Actually, we should take these if we're gonna go out. Leave my golden shovel here. But yeah, now I have a chest and all this, and the server's kind of lagging a bit. It's been lagging today, and I should light this up too as well. But yeah, we're gonna go exploring today because I need iron so I can make an anvil, and then I can start making Pokeballs. We also need aluminum to make PCs and trade machines, stuff like that. And actually, we can actually fight this sentry right here. Okay, server's lagging. Server's been lagging a lot today, so I don't know why. There we go. Okay. Tackle. I wonder if he gets experience for catching Pokemon. I don't know. That might be a thing that was added. I don't know. It's waiting. Is the server lagging again? Nothing's moving. I assume it is. Okay, you keep raising your defense. Oh, and finally use Scratch. Going to level 7. I'll take those. Yeah, we're gonna go exploring today just so we can get items and stuff. I am gonna tell a story since it's mostly just gonna be a lot of boring stuff, you know, and I am lagging, but I don't want to be too boring, so I am gonna tell a story where we go exploring and stuff. It's gonna be kind of like a high school story. I've talked about it before, and I don't know if you guys will be interested in it, but world not loading. Load, please. But I'm gonna talk about Jazz Retreat. If you guys didn't know, in high school I was in the jazz band. I was in jazz band for all 4 years of high school, and every year we would go on to Jazz Retreat. Which, if you don't know what Jazz Retreat is it's where we go for a trip to Vashon Island and live on Camp Burton, and we stay there for the week or for the weekend, right? So we get there Friday night, Saturday we practice all day, and then Sunday morning we leave. And I did jazz band all 4 years, so I got to go all 4 years. That's a random TP somewhere. I got to go to Jazz Retreat all 4 years, and Jazz Retreat was probably some of the wildest weekends for me. But we went to Jazz Retreat, and Jazz Retreat was just wild for me. You know, most of the weekends that we had, it was just so wild. But I'm gonna tell the story about Jazz Retreat my freshman year, and this will probably be like a 4-part video series, because I remember very strange details. I don't remember like exact conversations. I don't remember exact conversations, but I remember a little bit conversations, a little bit of some conversations. Yeah, everybody's complaining in the chat that it's laggy. Yeah, the server's not performing well today, but I gotta get a video out. Anyway, so we were leaving Friday to head to Jazz Retreat, and you know, I go home and you know, I pack up my stuff, and my mom and my dad give me a bottle of Dr. Pepper, you know, and you know, some money or whatever, because we would have to buy our own food on the way there. We would stop to get food, and the bottle of Dr. Pepper comes in later in the story. That's kind of why I'm telling you this. But you know, we go to the school, and they get a bus, you know, lined up for us, so we can get on the bus and start heading there. So we basically we get on the bus, and we're driving there, and I'm sitting with Tyler on the bus, you know, because he's one of my closest friends at the time. So on the bus right there, we're playing on our DS and stuff, you know, kind of what we were doing, you know, playing Pokemon. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna play Pokemon Ranger. You know, I was into Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia, which is, in my opinion, the best Pokemon Ranger game. I'm just gonna ignore the lag. But you know, we were playing Pokemon Ranger and stuff, and we kind of came to an agreement, you know, that I should try to be Pokemon Ranger while I was in high school, but also I could only play it on the trips, on school trips, which I only played it at Jazz Retreat, and we would go on like large trips towards the end of the year. Like every other year we would go to Disneyland or Disney World, and then every other year that wasn't Disneyland or Disney World, we would go to Silverwood in Idaho. And I didn't play a lot on those trips because those trips were kind of stressful, and we would be at the park all day, you know, and I wouldn't bring my DS to the park because that's just a bad time, and mostly would get stolen. But that's besides the point. So I only played at Jazz Retreat. Anyway, so before we got on the ferry to go to Vashon, because you gotta get on a ferry in order to get to Vashon, we stopped right before the ferry in a town, and they had like restaurants and stuff. Like they had Subway, McDonald's, maybe Domino's. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, so me, Tyler, my friend Zach, and our friend Drew, you know, these were all people in jazz band, so we knew all of them. We decided to go to get Domino's to get a large pizza, and we only had like 30 minutes to get food. So we head over to Domino's, and we kind of split our money so we could get an extra large pizza for all of us. So we order an extra large pizza. We just ordered pepperoni, you know, so everybody likes it or whatever, you know, everybody will eat it. And they said it would take 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cutting it close to when we have to get back to the bus. Thankfully, Domino's was close by, so it wasn't that far of a walk. But we waited a little over 20 minutes to get our food. And after we were done, I was like so hungry that I took it like right out of the box as soon as we got it, bit into it, and I burned the roof of my mouth. I burned the skin off the roof of my mouth. So all weekend I had no skin on my mouth, which was horrible. So, you know, that was already kind of bad, you know. But, we eventually made it back to the bus. We went to Subway to sit with our band teacher who was over at Subway. And then we walked back to the bus. You know, we didn't finish the whole pizza, so we kind of like started handing out slices, if I remember correctly. We just started handing out slices to people on the bus. After that, we ride the bus on the ferry, Camp Burton. We kind of just didn't get off the bus when we got on the ferry. But we were just, you know, sitting on the bus, you know, things you do. So, skip forward to while we're on Vashon, we actually get to the camp. You know, we get off the bus, they assign us cabins, you know, what cabins we're in. And we got assigned to the freshman/sophomore cabin. It was mostly freshmen. Ooh, a spawner. It's already been taken out. Or maybe it's because it's on peaceful. I don't know. A rock gem. I'll take that. Feather Fallen. Take a music disc. It's not the best one, but you know, it could be useful. But yeah, they assigned us to cabins, and we were supposed to go and put our bags in our cabins, and then go down to the pavilion and meet everyone there. You know. So we do. You know, we grab what bunks we want. You know, go to the cabin, grab what bunks we want, and everything. And then we head down to the pavilion. I, of course, got the top bunk. I always like being on the top bunk for some reason. I don't know why. But I always grab the top bunk. And Tyler was across from me on the other top bunk, you know. But yeah. After we do that, we head down to the pavilion, you know. We start introducing everybody, because not everybody in the Jasmine knows everybody, you know. If we went to, like, the same middle school and we were in band together, you know, we kind of knew each other and stuff, but not everybody knew everybody, because there's two different jazz bands, you know, Jazz 1 and Jazz 2. Then you know, we after we introduce ourselves, we start playing a game. Yeah, so you know, we played Mafia. You know, that was fun. And so we played Mafia, and I was the Mafia the first round, right? And I immediately got called out for being the Mafia. And they're like, do you have like any proposal on why you are not the Mafia? And I just like said, no, I'm not, basically. And thinking about it, you know, now that I'm older and stuff, you know, I was 13. I was 13, you know. And I think we went on January 2014, because the fall of 2013 is when I went in high school. That's besides the point. But it was cold out, which I guess would come into the story later. But, you know, now that I'm older, I probably should, because he said my eyes were looking at people, I'm like, yeah, maybe I was looking at people because I was trying to read people's, facial expressions to see who was the Mafia. How about that? You know? But, you know, I didn't, so I got called out, and yeah, I was the Mafia, so, I kind of stopped, and then I just hung out with Tyler until the game was over and stuff. And then, I don't remember what happened next. I don't think we did anything much. I think we just hung out, and then we were told to go back to our cabins, get some sleep, because we had to get up. Not early, but pretty early, you know. We had to get up at like 7 and be at the thing at 8. But like, the cabin, certain cabins had to set the tables for the certain meals. Thankfully, whenever our cabin had to set the table, there weren't enough tables for everyone who was in our cabin, so I always got to sit next to a friend, because at least one person from that cabin had to sit at each table, so we couldn't all be together. But thankfully, I found a workaround, and basically I just sat with my friend, and you know, because there wasn't enough tables for just one person to be at that table from that cabin, if that makes sense. But you know, but thankfully we weren't the cabin that had to set the table for breakfast in the morning. I think we had to do lunch. Yeah, this almost is a cross. Okay, anyway, moving on. So we went back to a cabin, and we stayed up late. Not as late as we did the next night, because we wanted to get sleep, because we had to practice all day the next day. So, moving on. We stayed up pretty late that night. You know, most of us stayed up. Some didn't. I think like Zach fell asleep. One of the people in the cabin, Tyrell, he fell asleep as well. But most of us were still awake. There is, including me and Tyler, and there is this one guy, Steven. He was a sophomore. He was one grade above me, and he was like, "We're gonna like break in the song in the middle of the night." I remember this was kind of happening the second night too, as well. Yeah. So you know, we were talking a little. A lot goes by. I don't remember much of what was happening, but you know, it's whatever. But yeah, so it says we're gonna break in the song. I don't think we did that night. We might have, because he had a Bluetooth speaker and he was playing music, but like, you know, it's whatever. At some point I fall asleep, and I don't remember when. I just fall asleep, but they told me this next morning that after I fell asleep, some shit went down. Some crazy shit went down. Like it was the most craziest shit I've ever heard. So they said after I fall asleep, right, maybe 30 minutes after I fall asleep or whatever, they told me the next morning, and I don't know if this is true, but I feel like back then I asked Tyler if it was true, because he was still awake, and this actually involves Tyler, and he said yeah, that actually happened, but he claims now that he doesn't remember it. But they told me that at some point after I fell asleep, for some reason Tyler decided it would be a good idea to just like get on his knees, well, turn around on the bunk bed. He turns around, gets on his knees, bends over, pulls down his pants, and spreads his asshole to the whole cabin, or whoever was awake at that time. Like, what made you think that you wanted to do that and that it was okay? Anyway, that first night was kind of wild. That's kind of all I remember. As I said, I don't remember much of the conversation. I just remember like core details. But I remember I stopped by Dr. Pepper and I drank it early that morning, and some on the way and some on night, you know, to wash down the pizza we had the night before. But yeah, I basically finished Dr. Pepper, and now it's kind of like an empty bottle, which comes into play later. So now it's Saturday, and we get to practice all day. And there was a year, and I think it was my senior year, basically where we didn't actually practice all day, and there's a reason for that, but I'll get to that. I'm still talking about my freshman year, so 9th grade jazz retreat. Anyway, so we go practice all day. You know, we have breakfast, you know, the usual. For breakfast, we had a lot of stuff. We had, you know, basically what we always had, what people have for breakfast, you know, eggs, hash browns, bacon, you know. And we sat all together with our friends. Since we weren't sitting at a table, we didn't have to sit at separate tables. But, you know, me and all my friends, including Tyler, we kind of just sat at the table with each other, and basically, what happened is we all liked bacon, so we had this big bowl of bacon, and you could go back and get seconds, thirds, you could just get as much food as we want. So we got back and we just got big giant bowls of bacon, and we just munched on bacon. Of course, I was playing Pokemon Ranger because I said I wanted to beat it, you know, before I finished high school, which I ended up doing. Yeah. So we practiced all day. We had a guest speaker. At some point in the afternoon, I was feeling tired, and mainly when I took my medicine, which was Adderall for my ADD, it would usually make me stay awake, but I forgot my medicine or my medication, so I was kind of sleepy towards the afternoon. And what had happened is we were kind of just listening to some music, because we get new sheet music when we're at Jazz Retreat. You know, we kind of listen to it to see how it's supposed to be played. That's a lot of fucking apricorns. Anyway, so we were listening to music. We had a guest speaker early in the day, but that was really not important. I didn't really pay attention to him because he was a trombonist. I was a bassist. So, yeah. Anyway, early in the afternoon, we were listening to music, and I had a beanie on, right? And I set down my bass, right? Because I was electric bass player, so I was sitting most of the time. I set down my bass and I leaned back in my chair and put my beanie over my eyes. And apparently I woke up like 30 minutes to an hour later, took my beanie off my eyes and just looked around, and this tenor saxophone player kind of looked over at me and he's like, what the fuck, man? Like, he mouthed it, but he was also kind of laughing at the same time because I just fell asleep in front of the whole class, right? Teacher didn't even comment on it or anything when I woke up, right? So I'm guessing maybe she didn't notice, maybe nothing happened. I didn't know what time it was because I didn't check what time it was when I fell asleep. I just know it was some time in the afternoon after we had lunch. But I also learned this at Jazz Retreat, that after the first night, they told me that I mumble or hum in my sleep, or I guess they said kind of like in a moaning kind of way, but not like sexual moaning, just like in a way that, I don't know. But I'm guessing it's because my brain is just racing 1,000 miles per hour without my medication, and maybe it just had a song and I was playing a song, but I had no dream that night, or I don't remember it. But yeah, so I was afraid. I was kind of like moaning like in the front of the whole class, but the teacher didn't seem to notice, so I kind of just like, okay, I'm awake now, I guess I'll just play along or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of it. And then we get done with playing for the day, you know, 12 hours of playing. We've been playing all day with a break for lunch, and now it's like time for dinner, and we're done playing. Or I think we did dinner and then we started playing for like another hour or two and then we stopped. So yeah, now after dinner and now that we've played for a day, it's kind of like game time. Stay up as late as you want, we don't give a fuck, right? So after we're done playing, my teacher said, oh, we're done playing. I was like, yes, finally. And she was like, hey, don't say that, or we're gonna play again. And I was like, okay. So maybe I should have blurred that out, but of course I did. Of course I wasn't on my medication, so I didn't think of anything. I'm gonna take damage here in a second, but yeah. So we're done playing, you know, and then this was where it was time, you know. We had a couple hours, so they usually play board games in the pavilion, and everybody, me, Tyler, Tyrell, and Caleb, who was also in our cabin. I think Caleb was either a sophomore or a junior. He was in our cabin as well. This is where the Dr. Pepper bottle comes in. We go up to the cabin because they said we could go to the cabin if we wanted to. So the four of us decided to go to the cabin. You know, why not? And we started fucking around with throwing stuff into the trash can, right? So we started throwing my empty Dr. Pepper bottle into a trash can. We started with the trash can in the middle of the room, and one of us, well, Caleb and Tyrell did the throwing. Me and Tyler kind of just grabbed the ball and threw it back to them, you know, if they missed or whatever. But they started throwing Dr. Pepper bottle into the trash can in the middle of the room. They got a couple times, and then we moved the trash can to the other side of the cabin, and we started chucking that thing all the way across the cabin. And we talked for a bit, and then Tyrell asked me, he's like, hey, have you heard of Avenged Sevenfold? Now at this point, I didn't know much about Avenged Sevenfold. I knew like two of their songs, which was Nightmare and Welcome to the Family, because those were the ones on the radio. And I did buy them on iTunes because I'm like, yeah, I know some of their songs. He's like, well, this song is by them. And he starts playing, I want to say it's Shepherd of Fire, because their Hail to the King album came out in 2013. It was 2014 of January. So I knew that Hail to the King came out. I want to say it's Shepherd of Fire, but he's like, this plays in Black Ops, or I forget what Black Ops it is, and I want to say it is do that or Carry On. But him and Caleb started talking about, you know, when the song plays in Black Ops and stuff, because they weren't big to that. I was never in the Black Ops, same with Tyler, but we still chucked the Dr. Pepper bottle in the trash can. We did this for hours, and I recorded like a 13-minute video before we stopped playing, or stopped chucking the Dr. Pepper bottle into the trash can. It's on my old phone, but my old phone doesn't work, so I really can't get it, or else I probably would put it on the screen. It's not that interesting. It's also recorded upside down, because my phone didn't want to rotate. But yeah, we start, and then like Drew and Zach come in, and they enter the cabin, and we're just chucking a Dr. Pepper bottle as hard as we can from one side of the cabin to the other, and they're like, what the hell are you doing? And we're like, well, we've been doing this for like the past 2-3 hours, and we haven't gotten bored yet. So that happened. I don't remember anything else. I don't remember anything else. I think I remember like at one point someone took like a shit in the toilet and it got clogged. I can't remember what year was that, but you know, stuff just happens. I remember I took a shower that night, and I had long hair, so I rolled my towel up onto my head, and I come out of the shower, you know, with the towel in my hand. They're like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, I have long hair, so I do what, you know, girls do, you know. So yeah, that's about it. So now we go into the second night, you know. Second night, mostly everybody fell asleep because they're exhausted from playing. The only people who were up were me, Tyler, Caleb, and Steven for a little while. Steven was up for a little while. And this is where we're gonna break in the song comes in, you know, for the second night or whatever. I want to battle this Houndoom or Houndour. But Steven was like, we're gonna break in the song at midnight. Of course, he fell asleep before midnight. So what we did is I want to go back. So Steven fell asleep before midnight, and you know, it was kind of midnight now, and Steven said we were gonna break in the song. So, and since he fell asleep, Tyler just like, you know, I'll go wake him up. So Tyler goes and creeps over to his bed, right? Jumps on top of his bed and starts fucking humping him like. For whatever reason, Tyler thought it was a good idea to hump him. So Steven got fucking mad because he was asleep and now he's suddenly awake. He's like, dude, what the fuck? And he throws Tyler off onto the floor and goes back to sleep. And we're like, okay. Well, that didn't work very well. So Tyler goes back on his bed. Steven's asleep. The only people up are me, Caleb, and Tyler, right? And we started having a conversation, and Tyler recorded this conversation. We had like a 3-hour conversation about something that I don't even remember. We had a 3-hour conversation that at some point I fell asleep. And yeah, that was kind of basically, oh shit, Turtwig fainted. Yeah, so that was kind of, I think they had some more conversation after I fell asleep for a little while. I doubt Tyler still has the recording on his phone because, I mean, it was 7 years ago that this happened. Almost 8. But yeah. So, we wake up the next morning and we fell asleep around like 3 o'clock, right? So, we were kind of all dead tired. Or I fell asleep around 3 o'clock to 4. We were all tired. We had to get up at 6 a.m. because we had to be in the pavilion by like 6:30 or 7. So we all got at 6 a.m. We had to pack up our stuff. We packed up all our stuff. And we opened the door to the cabin, and it's just like this fucking cold breeze. I mean, it's early January, so it's winter, right? It was just this cold breeze. It was misting out. It was kind of raining, but it was like a light mist. It was very cold, and it was just deep fog. You could barely see in front of you. I mean, we were on an island too, so of course it was cold. We were actually pretty close to the water as well, because by the pavilion we could see the Puget Sound or the ocean, whatever it was. Probably the Puget Sound. I guess you could call it the ocean because it is ocean, but we call it the Puget Sound here. But yeah, that's kind of what happened. We kind of sat there at the pavilion for an hour or two, ate breakfast, you know, or same. Everybody was dead tired. I mean, me, Tyler, and Caleb only got like 3 hours of sleep because we were up to like 3 a.m. Maybe 4 a.m. I don't even remember when I fell asleep. But we only got a couple hours of sleep, so we kind of just tired. Once the bus came here, we kind of just slept on the bus. And that was kind of our experience with Jazz Retreat. It's kind of wild, you know, thinking about it and stuff. Let me get another chest. But yeah, Jazz Retreat was fun nonetheless. That was one of the craziest weekends I've ever had in my life. That was just so crazy. And it's crazy because no adults were able to stay in our cabins. The adults had their own cabin. So it's kind of just us friends, you know, fucking around. So that was kind of our experience with Jazz Retreat, you know, and everything. I want to move into this chest and move this chest on top because I feel like it's better if it's in the middle. Because I want to put a chest on top of that chest. It looks better in the corner, but it's like that's the window is kind of there. So I kind of don't want to do that. Ninth grade Jazz Retreat, one of the craziest years I've ever had. Just the stuff we did was just stupid, honestly. Some fucking kids being in a cabin together by themselves. Stupid shit happens, man. But you know, it was fun nonetheless. I guess next episode what we're gonna do is we're just gonna keep exploring, catch some more Pokemon hopefully. And yeah, I'll probably tell the story of 10th grade Jazz Retreat because that got even wilder because I was even more crazy. I'm not kidding, I was pretty crazy for that as well. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching as always. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, it helps me out a lot, and also subscribe to this channel so you don't miss an episode of Pixelmon. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!